we're all about sports here at the Homewood Public Library. Me and Miss Mandy today have chosen some of our favorite books to share with you about sports, which we all know I really love Miss Mandy.
This is true.
Don't know about her, but she's got some great picture books to share with you today about sports, and then I'm going to share with you some of my favorite chapter books about sports. And when it comes to sports, most kids usually go to our favorite author, Matt Christopher, who we dearly love. But we have so much more to offer about sports here at the library that we want to share with you today. Well, like I said before, I love sports, all sports. And when it comes to sports and writers, I think some of these guys I'm going to show you today really hit it out of the park. One of my favorites is Fred Bowen. He's very similar to Matt Christopher in length, and I really like his writing style. One of my favorites is this book, Quarterback Season. It's really cool because it's written in like a journal format. And the kid in the book, he expects to be the starting quarterback, but as always, there's that older 7th grader that's going to try to take his spot. And on top of that, his English teacher has given him a new writing lesson. He has to write in a journal. So he decides to start journaling about his experience throughout his quarterback season. Also, he wrote a great book called Full Court Fever. And sometimes I find it kind of hard, Miss Mandy, to find basketball books. There's lots of baseball, plenty of football, but not always basketball. And in this book, it's really cool because it's about a team that's not very tall. I don't have that problem. And they go on to look at the 1960s UCLA Bruins on their way to the NCAA National Championship and how they won the championship. And they start to apply that to their Full Court Fever. When it comes to baseball, Dan Gutman, in my opinion, is the best. One of my favorites, well, actually, he's got a lot of them, are baseball card adventures that Dan Gutman wrote. This one is called Willie and Me. And in the baseball card adventures, they're all about this boy, and his name is Stosh. And Stosh travels back in time using his old baseball cards. He goes back to help out the players, which I think is really cool. And you learn a lot about baseball history on top of just having fun reading these books. In this book in particular, it involves, oh my goodness, the shot heard round the world. And this guy right here, Willie Mays. This is an awesome book, and I highly recommend the Baseball Card Adventures if you're looking for baseball books in particular. Another author who I really like for some of our older advanced readers is Tim Green. These are a little bit longer in length, and the content sometimes is a little bit more, shall we say, rough. That's right. In this book especially, Tim Green writes about a boy that he's come on hard times. He's been a foster child, and all he wants to do is play in the NFL when he grows up. Well, it turns out he ends up in a house with a coach now as his dad. And he thinks his dreams are coming true, but then fate, it always comes into play, as they say, and deals him a hard hand. I think it's really awesome, too, that Tim Green actually interviewed real cancer survivors for this story and used them as an inspiration in this book. I think anyone that is really looking for a great football book and has a dream of maybe one day playing football, they too can be unstoppable like Tim Green.
The first book that I chose to talk about today is called The Babe and I, and it's just a really sweet story about a boy who's growing up during the Depression. His father has lost his job, and the boy takes a job as a newspaper boy to help his family make money. And it's just a story about he gets all caught up in the world of Babe Ruth and how how huge he was at the time, and he actually gets to meet him, although he doesn't know it at the time. I think the illustrations are beautiful, and the story is a really sweet story about how he and his father become closer at the end, and it's I think it's just a really good little book. The next book I picked out is called The Bat Boy and His Violin, and if anybody you know me, I love music. It's a story about an African-American boy growing up during the time of the Negro Leagues. His father is the coach of one of the baseball teams, and they're not doing well. And he wants his son to be less interested in the violin and more interested in sports. So he wants him to be the bat boy. And he brings him onto the team, and at first things are not going so well, but he starts to play his violin. The team starts to win. The father and son become closer by the end of the story. It's just a really sweet story. All right, this is a great, fun read. It's called Gunner, Football Hero. This is a boy who is officially, everybody thinks he's too short and he's too round to play football. But he loves the game so much, his parents say, okay, you can be on a team. He joins the team. It turns out he's a pretty good quarterback, but he's still third string. Well, the championship game comes, and the first string quarterback, second string quarterback are both injured. He gets to play, and he's doing great, although at the very last second of the game, he throws an interception and the other team wins. But the next day he finds out that the player who got the ball was a girl. How about that? Last book, last but not least, this is the story it's written by the world famous African-American ballerina named Misty Copeland. It's written in a beautiful poetic style. She's a beautiful writer as well as a beautiful dancer, and it's from the point of view of a young dancer who has very little confidence in her ability, and how through hard work and determination she too can achieve her dreams as a dancer. So I hope that you will maybe check these out. They're really good books.
Check out these books
At the Homewood Public Library.